is there something that I can do differently with finance and data and money that can change the life of others, right? Can empower, can use the data to empower and make a change.
Hello and welcome to the Differentiation podcast. My name is Michèle Sorgaroli, and today we are being joined by our very special guest, Christina Sjahli. Christina knows numbers firsthand, and she knows they can feel intimidating, but she's built her career helping founders gain confidence in their finances and to strategically fuel their growth. After 2 years as a CFO, or sorry, 22 decades, not 2 years, after 2 decades as a CFO, Christina founded in 2018 Profit Reimagined. She helps social impact entrepreneurs scale businesses that are both profitable and purposeful. Through her work and in collaboration with her remarkable team, Christina inspires leaders to embrace money as a powerful tool that helps them create the impact that they genuinely want to make. Christina, what a treat to be here with you today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Michelle, you make me embarrassed. I don't know where you got all of that. I'm pretty sure my marketing person does that. But thank you for the
Oh,
welcome and then for the bio that you share. So
oh my
appreciate it.
gosh. Well, you are a woman on a mission. So I'm so excited to be here and to hear more about that. And we've got the wise owl in the background to make sure that there's wisdom in our conversation. So I have no doubt you're going to share lots of gems with us. Where I want
Exactly.
to start with, if we
Yeah.
can, is right at the beginning. You said, numbers can be intimidating. And I thought about when did it shift for you when you realized that numbers could be actually a tool that can fuel growth and create impact instead of just being something that you see on spreadsheets and analyze, because numbers are an intimidating thing. A lot of people tend to avoid them.
I think it started when I felt there is something that is not right or didn't feel right with my career,
Mm,
right? I shared with you when we
yeah.
spoke before that I started my career as, working for corporate, right? Like, I
Yeah.
mean, you had to make money when you were an immigrant, so here you go. Um, and something just didn't feel right when we look at the number and then we started making decision that is affecting people. And that was
Ah.
my biggest
Mm,
misalignment, I would
mm-hmm.
say, right?
Mm,
And I started to realize slowly, it's not like it's clear. It's just something
yeah.
that didn't feel right. So I thought, okay, you know what? I do not want to spend the rest of my career life, whatever that is, uh, to be making decision, looking at data, and didn't wanna see the the impact of making that decision
Mm,
on other people, right? Or the communities or the world. Like I just felt like it's not right. Um,
mm.
so that's when I left my corporate career.
Aw.
Yeah. And I basically kind of like did some soul searching. What does this all mean? Right? I took a year trying to figure out if
Mm,
I really wanted to work as a finance expert or something related to
right.
finance, or did I want to change something else? I was considering leadership coaching
Oh,
because
wow.
I thought, oh, okay, maybe that is something interesting, and then you're making an
Yeah,
impact on other people. But I also felt like I don't know if that is the right thing, right? I
right.
still like to look at the data. I still like to look at the financial number, but putting people in that data.
Interesting there. Really speaking to the triggering event for you, or what really started to feel uncomfortable, was that people were making decisions based on numbers and not considering how they were impacting the people. So for
Yeah,
you, it's really always been about the people. Hmm?
I think so. I think deep inside, it always been about the people. It's just I
Interesting.
didn't realize it, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
when you started your career, you just like you study something, you want to go into that career, and you just moving along,
Yeah.
right? And then I moved after I went to this I went to school in the US, right?
Okay.
I went to school in the US, and then I went back home if I thought about it as well, like the culture
Mm,
in Indonesia where
mm,
I came from, um, money is very important. Education is very important. Title and
mm,
social status is
mm.
very important,
Interesting.
right?
Hmm.
And that also had some impact, right?
Right.
You had that driver inside you. You just want to have your career going somewhere. Um, and does that
Yeah.
mean you have to push people away using your elbow or using your decision making?
Yeah.
You just wanted to go somewhere because that there is a certain social status that you want to achieve over
Hmm.
there. And then I think that is also one of the reason I didn't feel right. I never knew what it was, right? It just
Hmm.
didn't feel right to live over there and then to basically, you know, build my career in
Hmm.
Indonesia. I always wanted to go back to North America. Nothing is perfect. That's all I can say. Nothing is
Yeah.
perfect, but I can appreciate,
Yeah.
growing up in a country that is completely different culture, and
Yeah.
then the way we look at money, the way we look at social status in comparison to here in Canada, I feel.
Well, yeah, I would imagine as a young woman going to school in the United States, I assume that was post-secondary. So you were in a university at that time, is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I would imagine such an informative time of life. So was that your first time to really experience any culture outside of Indonesia of any consequence?
To live, right? To
Okay.
live and interact
Yeah.
with the people, we travel a lot.
Yeah.
And I think
Okay.
that is, like we got my family,
Mm.
me and my siblings, we got a lot of exposure
Oh,
looking at the world, right? I was fortunate, we were fortunate, and my parents really wanted us to see the world and then how people live,
yeah.
uh, force us to learn English, right?
Mm.
So because that was important. But again, looking
Hmm.
at it from the social status,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you have the money and then you go travel, you you look good. But behind that, I think I truly believe that my parents want to open our mind and then
Yeah.
see there is a world outside Indonesia that you can
Mm.
explore.
Yeah, I would imagine, especially as a young girl,
Hmm.
seeing how other people lived, even as a traveler, experiencing other cultures and noticing how things are different, and then going and living in the States. So when you moved for university to the US,
Yeah.
what was um, what impacted your experience there? What kind of changes did you notice that helped you develop and become who you are now?
I felt freedom. I felt independent,
Oh,
right?
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm,
I felt that I was able to stand on my own
mm-hmm.
and create a future for myself.
Ah, interesting.
So, and then I felt that the Western culture is a better fit for me.
What makes you say
I
that?
I knew you were gonna ask that, Michelle. I don't know.
Well, it's pulling out the things that are important or what you value, and then what's
I
the
know.
match, right?
Um, I I said that because I felt that in the Asian culture in Indonesia where I grew up, I felt that I have to tiptoes and
Mm,
really I cannot be direct. I
mm.
cannot be who I am.
I totally, having spent some time in Indonesia just as a traveler, but for a month, I sense that such a gentle spirit there. The people,
Yes.
such gentle souls.
Yes.
Yeah, I can
Yes,
see that.
gentle souls.
Lovely.
And it's just like, I felt like
Mm,
I couldn't be myself. I am a very direct person. I felt like
yeah,
I don't need to hide anything,
right.
but I felt over there I have to tiptoes, right?
So
And
yeah,
then
you felt
it was very hard. for
Yeah,
me.
I can sense that.
Yeah.
Being direct would be, I would imagine, in any culture where you're not feeling like you fit, doesn't,
Yeah.
you know, whether it's in a family culture or in a corporate culture or actually in a country culture,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't matter. We always feel a little unsettled when we don't feel like there's a match, right,
Yes,
with who
I
we
agree.
are. It's
Yeah.
interesting because you said, you know, a lot of people talk about going away to university. And you know, you said you felt more freedom having gone away to university and you felt more independent, which I think is common for young people who go away to university, even within their same culture. There's a sense of more independence and they're starting to adult, as we in the language today, feeling that freedom where your parents aren't sort of noticing every move. That being said, what you did say was you said you got the sense you could create a future for yourself.
Yeah.
And that was curious to me.
Yeah. Because I had to make my own decision, right? Like I
Mhm.
there is no I cannot
Mm.
call my parents every step of the way.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I also felt that freedom led me to to explore
Mm-hmm.
what felt right for
Mm.
me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I I wouldn't say I am rebellious, but I think there is a tendency in me that I don't want to be, I don't know, I don't want to be in a cage and then live in a way that my culture or my environment dictate my
Yeah.
action and my
Yeah.
decision making. I really just want to be free. I want to be
Mm.
able to just like make the decision because I feel it's right.
Uh-huh.
That's what is important to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't feel that way back home. I felt
Mm.
very restricted.
Right.
And that, you know, from the environment, from the culture, and then my parents as well, right? Like, I mean, if they grew up over there, so it's a different culture as
Of
well.
course.
And then
Mm-hmm.
their upbringing is different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's, I don't know. There is that
Interesting.
rebellious streak in me that just wanted to be free and then just create my own path. I don't want
Well,
anybody to tell me what is right, what is wrong.
right. Interesting. Well, you're, you know, with the two words you've used to describe yourself as being direct and a driver, a direct driver is probably going to value some freedom as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right? Where you're like, no, I
yeah.
want to push things forward in my way, according to things that, you know, to your point, you've said that really align with what felt right to you.
Correct.
And I think there you're probably alluding to values, I'm assuming. Is that a fair?
Yeah, yeah, it's value. But as a young in your 20s,
Yeah,
what did
don't know.
I know? I didn't know what
Right,
that means. Do you think I heard about mission-driven social impact?
right.
I
Well, that
I
wasn't even
have
really a thing so much. You know, it wasn't as
yes,
evident as it is today that there wasn't even really in the corporate vernacular back then. So,
yeah. So
yeah,
I really do not know. I just feel something is not right. That's
yeah.
how I always felt. Something is not right.
Hmm. I
Something
love
is not
that.
right.
Something is not right. And that isn't that true for any kind of change that we make? There's a certain
Yeah,
level of discomfort which is no longer tolerable to some
yeah,
degree, where
yeah,
something it's just been nagging at you for so long, or it's been under the surface for so long, and it seems to be getting increasingly uncomfortable
yeah,
or agitating.
yeah.
Like, oh, something's not right. I got to fix this. So you went to the US. I just want to pivot back just a wee bit because you left Indonesia. You went to school in the States. And at that time, were you studying finance and money?
I was studying accounting.
Okay. So there you go. And accounting was something that was chosen perhaps or influenced by others for you, or was that something that you personally selected as your...
I just knew I knew it's not going to be science. I'm not really good at science. I didn't think that it's gonna be accounting. My initial thought was marketing. Because and then the
Mhm.
reason
Mm.
it's marketing, and then I don't know where I got this, and then maybe because of the travel, and then because I like fashion somehow. And then I always want something, okay, becoming a buyer of some kind of like fashion brand. That was like what I thought. And then
Oh my
the
gosh.
biggest thing is that, or working for advertising because I wanted to travel. I think that travel,
Mm-hmm.
I want to go there. I want to experience the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's what made me say, oh, let's do marketing. But
Nice.
then my dad changed my
Mm,
mind. And then
mm,
he is an accountant and finance person, like he basically said, hey, if you want to study something that you may not have the experience later on because it's very foundational,
oh yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm. It's
He
good.
basically said, yeah, so he
Mm-hmm.
said, you know, you can learn marketing later on. Yeah. Lo
Mm.
and behold, here I am
I
starting
was
my own
gonna
business
come
and then I
back to
have to
that.
learn about it. Yeah. So, I had to come back. So he said it's the basic foundation of a business
Mm,
and you need that, he said.
interesting.
And
As a life skill in a way is what
as a
I'm
life
hearing.
skill, he said,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like something that is going to be useful and then um you can expand from there. That's what he
Yeah.
said. You have option to
Mm-hmm.
expand to other areas if you
Mm-hmm.
understand this basic because not everybody understand it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, I didn't know what it means, but I took my first accounting class and then my professor basically said, either you're gonna like it or you're gonna hate it,
Yeah.
right? Because
And
all the jargon and the debit
yep.
and credit. But turn out I was good at it, right?
Okay.
So I was
You
good at
said,
it and then
yeah,
I
you
love
said
it.
that earlier. You said you referenced you like data, right?
I
So
didn't know that though, Michelle. I
right, but it
really
was
didn't know
inside of
that.
you. And
Yeah.
so I'm imagining that there's something about the numbers or the data or the story that they tell. There's
Hmm.
something about that that was probably in there somewhere in part of you. So into accounting and you were good at it.
Yeah.
So then what happened?
Well, I was good at it, and then my pathway. And then this is where I said I created my own pathway. My dad told me, okay, accounting. Then there are different type of career track,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I wanted to be the most challenging one. That's kind of like I'm like, okay,
There you
I just
go.
gonna aim high and then
Mm-hmm.
see. So my dream after I chose accounting was to become a partner in an accounting firm.
Okay.
And we have all of this career fair, right? And then they
Mm-hmm.
basically, oh, there's Price Waterhouse, there's KPMG, there's Ernst and Young, there's Arthur Anderson. That was like, I just like, okay, that's where I gonna go. I gonna be an external auditor. I didn't know what that meant, honestly. Didn't know what that meant. I just know I'm
I
like,
love it.
that's where I gonna go.
Yeah.
I know I'm not gonna go to taxation because I was terrible in
Ah,
tax. It's just
okay.
like I didn't like tax. I
Yep.
don't know. I just felt like it's very rigid, it's very boring. But there is something in public accounting that intrigued me. And with my dad input as well, he told me this is what he said. And then I still remember he said, if you chose audit, right, and then you go to public accounting, you're gonna have a taste with different industries, and then you are going to learn the different industry and how to deal with
Yeah.
people because you had to deal with clients, you had to deal
Mm,
with the partner, you had to deal with your team. You're gonna learn how how
mm,
a business works, how a business run, right? And
nice.
then that is a skill set that you you know
That will take you
you
far.
it will take me far. I didn't know how far. I just like,
Right.
and then I look into it and I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Auditing class, I didn't like it though because I'm like, what is this, right? Like it's so confusing with all the
Mm-hmm.
testing, with all this detail work. I'm like, I don't know if this is going to be fun,
Right.
but I pursue it anyway,
Mm-hmm.
right?
It's interesting, the influence you had was very much about building foundational skills that you could then develop into anything you want. So interestingly, I'm not hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm
Yeah.
not hearing that your father or your parental influence was necessarily targeting to a certain outcome. They were wanting you to have a foundation that could expand into wherever you wanted it to go. Is that what I heard
Yes,
from you?
it is true. And then,
Mm,
as you know, my parents always said, we will not give you money,
mm-hmm,
right? We're not like a billionaire. Like
mm-hmm,
we're lucky, we have enough, right? My
mm-hmm,
dad had a good career.
mm-hmm,
Uh, but the one thing we're gonna give you is education.
mm.
And then after that, you have to create your own pathway, right?
Yeah,
You have to work for
yeah.
it, right?
I
And then
just, yeah,
create that.
it's, I just got goosebumps because isn't that what you're doing with your clients now?
I know, right? Isn't it interesting? Like I didn't know where my career gonna take me. Do you think I ever thought of starting my own business? Like I saw my dad fail when he's trying
Oh,
to start his own business. I didn't know. Like he
right.
lost his money
Oh my
when he
gosh.
started his own business, right?
Wow. So
So
we'll come, I want to come back to that because that's curious because
yeah.
that impacts their story, right? So you graduate from university and you were in corporate working in audit at this time. Is that where you ended up?
Yeah, but I went
Okay.
back to Indonesia. I went back to Indonesia, right? So after I
Okay.
graduated, because it was really hard to find to get a green card in the US,
Hmm.
right? I had a year to work in the US after I
Right.
graduated. So I did that. I was doing accounts payable.
Okay.
That was boring. That's also when I knew I'm like, okay, I cannot do this. I have to pursue audit because sitting here doing accounts payable and looking at this bill and then just at data entry, this is not me. That's
Mm.
all I knew.
Mm-hmm.
This is not
Mm-hmm.
me. I couldn't do this.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back
Gotcha.
to Indonesia
Mm-hmm.
and then I joined at that time was Arthur Anderson,
Okay.
right? But
Mm-hmm.
again, this is also where social status, right? When you
Mm.
graduated from a university that is in the US, you
Right.
got that social status,
Right.
right? The society, the community, the people, the companies, they look at you differently,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm.
So I was able to join Arthur Anderson at the time, and then I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even start in audit. I started in consulting,
Okay.
right? As a young 22, 23, my God, what did I even know in giving advice to business?
Right.
Seriously, aside
Mm.
from, developing your confidence because you
Right.
have to make people believe you. But I'm
Right.
like, I have no clue. But I started
Hmm.
in consulting. I
Interesting.
stayed in consulting for a year, but I always knew I wanted to do audit. I don't know, it's just stuck with me.
Okay.
So after that, I switched. After I got in, that is kind of like it's my entryway to get into a big consulting firm.
Okay.
And then
Yep.
after that, I'm like, okay, I can switch now.
Yeah.
And then there is a pattern you will
Yep.
see later on. Yeah.
Okay. So then you're doing audit, and is that so you were then moving up the ladder? You had your social status and you
Yeah.
started to develop more expertise and more seniority and whatnot. And then you decided this doesn't fit for me anymore.
It's yeah, Indonesia didn't fit for me. So I always knew when I went back, I had to go somewhere.
Mm,
And I met a Canadian while I was working at Arthur Anderson. I met a
okay.
Canadian, and then she was the one that kind of intrigued me and then basically said, have you thought about Canada? I'm like,
Mm,
oh, never really thought about Canada before. I heard about Canada, but I didn't think about it. She said, you should try and see,
mm,
explore it. I think it would be easier than moving to the US. And then I think I made the right decision. So that's how I applied. Basically, I applied as a skilled immigrant, and having a career with a big international
mm-hmm,
global company that helped,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
So I work there. I need to get a minimum requirement of 3 years. Then I applied, and then um, I got my residency over here, and then I left in 2002.
Okay. And
Yeah,
where did
so
you
I
go?
left. I went to Toronto. I went to Toronto because it's nice, but Vancouver I heard it was not a place where you can find a
Mm,
job. right?
Being in Vancouver. There's a
The
lot
the
of
weather
entrepreneurs.
is
Yeah,
nice
yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
So
Okay, so that's in 2002, you left Indonesia and you came to Toronto.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so from 2002 until you founded Profit Reimagined in 2018,
yeah,
you're working in corporate, except for that year beforehand, I'm assuming. There's something that
yeah,
happened. So
yeah.
um, the themes that we're seeing, you've got a culture where you can be direct, you can drive the results you want, you've got some more freedom in terms of some of your style and the things that you want. So as your career was developing, what was
Mhm.
happening for you that was resulting in this discomfort around this isn't a fit? The
Uh,
numbers and the people. When did you start to realize the numbers were not serving the people?
so I was, I built my career. I joined many other accounting firm in Toronto, right? And then I jumped ship to a mining industry, right?
Ah,
And yeah,
interesting.
so
Okay.
it was, and then again, one of the reason it was luck as well, right? I
Mm-hmm.
I built a relationship with my superior, and then she moved to a mining company, and I always wanted to join either a mining company or oil and gas.
Oh.
Don't like it's interesting why I thought like that. I'm like, that is the most complex industry. It's gonna be challenging. I'm gonna learn a lot. You see the pattern?
Mm-hmm. I do. You like big, complex challenges that give you lots of opportunity to learn.
Yes. And then I'm like,
Interesting.
okay, this is my opportunity again.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm gonna be able to learn one of the most complex, challenging operation. And then I thought it was fascinating to look at the ground with the rock, and then suddenly there is something in there, and then you can sell it. Right? That was like my initial thought. Again, there's no social impact, there's nothing, right?
Yeah.
And I already started feeling, even like in audit, when I saw how people or the team in our client side doing accounting, and then how the company didn't treat them well,
Mm,
it started kind of like make me question, but I didn't have the mean at that time to really just like, okay, I don't want to do this and then leave,
right.
right? Um, again, in hindsight, like, I mean, maybe I would start my business earlier, but I don't think that's the case either, right? Because you need the
Mm-hmm.
experience, you need to feel something. I think feeling is also an intuition, and gut feel is the
Mm-hmm.
driving force in many of my decisions, just like something didn't feel right. So the biggest thing when I was working with mining, I really felt as a woman and a minority,
Ah,
uh the even though I'm in a country where I can basically say what I needed to say, it still feel restricted. There
mm-hmm.
is a certain rule that I have to follow, so my boss is happy, right? Or there is a certain rule that I have to follow. So, because I work for public companies, um, that I cannot say, or I have to close my eyes, even though the decision making is
Right.
affecting people, and then it's affecting the community,
Mm,
it's affecting many others, right?
mm-hmm.
And one of the turning point is that when I saw one of the mining property the business owned was in South America. And then we found it's not even a big deposit of gold uh, in in a graveyard, like in a burial, in a cemetery,
Mm,
ancestor cemetery,
mm,
right? And the fact that we negotiated with the community to pay money so we can dig out the gold out of the land, that was, I'm like, how wrong is this? Right? And
mm.
then
Yeah.
and then we didn't even pay a lot. Yeah, we built houses for them, but still, like there is meaning on that land for these people, and then we just replace it with a house with money. that was not right. And then, in
Mm-hmm.
addition, with me as a woman, a minority in a culture that is very, I should say, manly,
Mm-hmm.
and then being pushed down again, you see the
Mm-hmm.
pattern. I don't like being pushed down and being
Mm-hmm.
told like this is how it works. That kind of like pushed me to the
Right.
edge,
Yeah, I can hear
right?
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then basically, I basically said, you know what? Now I have the
Mm-hmm.
financially to
Mm-hmm.
basically make a decision on
Mm-hmm.
what is right for me,
Yeah.
right? And my career and my
Mm-hmm.
future, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be in my 65, 70s, 80s, and then started thinking like, why I didn't do this. Like it
Yeah.
was hard, right? Like I
Oh.
mean, I have a young child when
Oh.
I kind of like your story too, right? Like I mean, I have a young child, like and I'm like, but
Yeah.
I'm like, I have to give it a try somehow.
Beautiful. Something that really I want to just highlight here because I think it's an important part of your trajectory. You talked about the meaning to the community of the burial site
Yeah,
and that being replaced with or compensated for with money or economics. So there was a very specific experience that you had, a tangible experience where the meaning and the money came head to head,
yeah,
right? And prior to that, you had this feeling, I'm hearing, you had many, many experiences that were less tangible, but there was this feeling that maybe you couldn't put your finger on. But I'm sensing that when that particular situation happened, it was so tangible and so clear from your perspective
yeah,
that it gave you the clarity that maybe you hadn't yet put your finger on until that
yeah,
point. Is that fair?
yeah. It is really fair.
Yeah. So that was pivotal for you. And
It
and
is.
yeah, and it really brings together what you were saying where interestingly, I think, and here we are now with your having founded Profit Reimagined in 2018. You love challenges, you love complex learning situations, you love data and numbers, and also I'm going to bring back marketing, right? Which
I know, right?
interestingly,
Right?
marketing has data and numbers in it, which I think is curious because it gives you information. Marketing, when you track it and do it well, it can actually give you data that
Yep,
can generate outcomes, right?
yep,
And one of the things that we said at the beginning when we started here, that numbers can actually fuel your dreams.
exactly.
Can you
And then
tell us a little bit about that? Because I can see there's a big leap there, but I can sort of get the thread of it. But
I think, as a business owners, what really the first thing that business owners look at when they started a business normally is because they want to make money. Either it's for their personal reason, most of the time it's a personal reason,
mm-hmm,
right? Yes,
mm-hmm,
they may see a problem and then they want to solve it, but at the end of the day, it's about the financial aspect of it,
mm-hmm,
right? But I also realized, and then this is where I started. I took a year where I just trying to find myself and then
mm-hmm,
see, okay, is there something that I can do differently with finance and data and money that can change the life of others,
mm-hmm.
right? Can empower, can use the data to empower and make a change. And I realize when I find a community of certified B Corp,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then understand that there is businesses who look at money and profit and align it with their purpose. And then they can support their family, they can support their community, they can support their people, they can support the environment. It kind of changed how I feel,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I kind of felt like this is it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can still be in my expertise looking at data, but it's just now I can take a step back and use that data to guide founders and business owners to make the right decision,
Mm-hmm.
right? And what I really love with all my clients, their people matters, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there are external factors that they cannot stop, right?
Mm-hmm.
They cannot stop it. Like if the economy is slowing down or they cannot find more projects, as much as they try and they put in their own tears and their own money,
Right.
sometimes hard decision has to be made.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you break that news and then how do you make that decision is what makes it different though, right? Like if
Ah.
you do a comparison in a corporate world, okay, well, are we profitable? Oh, we're not profitable. The shareholders wants more profit. That's mean we have to drive our revenue. That's mean we have to lower our costs. I'm not saying in a small business world that change.
Mm-hmm.
The basic foundation of a business still need to exist,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But how you run the business and how you take the number and make the decision that is feel right, that is going back to who you are,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it's really going back to who you are.
Right.
Because if you already someone that care about other people, and then you're looking at your business and then my business is not profitable, now I know the reality is I still have to support my family. What am I going to
Mm-hmm.
do, right? But what I see with all the founders that I work with, they still try so hard. Okay, you know what? Instead of just like just cutting people off,
Yeah.
right? Let's give them what is right for them. Let's consider XYZ. Are they a single mom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are they like, do they have like a, disabled child, for example? If we let them go and then we don't give any severance, how are they going to survive?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or can we figure out a way, even though we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna suffer a little bit, right? Because we're still trying to survive as a business, but why don't we put our people first, right? And then the unfortunate thing, Michelle, sometimes pe people that is underneath and then where we are trying to make this decision, they didn't know this, right? I know this because I am right there with the
Right.
founder and the business
Right.
owner trying to make the decision and then trying to figure out, okay, where else can we make the money here? Where else can we get the money? Do we need to borrow? Do we need to cut costs?
Right.
Do I have to not pay myself, right? So my people can
Mm-hmm.
get
Mm-hmm.
what is right to support them at least for the next 3 months, the next 4 months. That's that's why, honestly, that's what I feel like the impact of the work that we're doing, right?
Mm.
The number itself, yes, it tells the story, and the story can look so bad, right? But
Yeah.
the ability to run the different scenario and understanding here's the impact. We may be running out of money. We can borrow money. Uh, how much is that going to cost us? That's not it though, right?
Right.
We
Right.
we're figuring out different ways as well to take care of the people. But
Yeah.
sometimes the people themselves, the team themselves, didn't know, and then putting the blame to the founder,
Mm.
right? Because they didn't realize they're not in it.
They're
And then
not.
I think
Mm-hmm.
the other thing as well is just to, when the founder care, and then that is the characteristic of the
Mm-hmm.
person, they gonna be transparent.
Mm-hmm.
They gonna try to work together with their team.
Mm-hmm.
The decision may not change, right? To
Mm-hmm.
maybe let them go, but how they break the news and then how they listen with empathy and then how they try to work to find the middle ground,
Mm-hmm.
that's the difference,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So the business data, the money, the profitability still needs to be there, but I guess how you react on how you run it, how you look at the data, that's what makes a social impact or a founder that care for their people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as we're looking at the different, like you said, the data allows for decisions. And the interesting thing is your decisions will be different depending on the values
Exactly.
that you bring
Yes.
into it, right?
Yes.
So that's what I'm
Yes.
hearing loud and clear. So
Yep.
when your decisions are myopically guided, or meaning that they're very focused on a specific lens, if you will,
Yep.
when you put a certain lens onto a picture, you're going to make different decisions. And by
Yes.
allowing for the breadth of what's happening, by really understanding the numbers and the data, you can explore options and you then insert values into that scenario. It
Yes.
allows you to distill and really come to clarity very quickly
Yes.
as you're looking
Yes.
at that complex situation. That's what I'm hearing from you. Is that accurate?
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Mm,
I mean, you really cannot just see like a spreadsheet with a number, just a spreadsheet with a number,
no.
right? But if you influence that with your
Mm-hmm.
value,
Mm-hmm.
that spreadsheet and that number
Yeah.
looks
Very
differently,
different. Yeah, it does.
very different.
It's one of, I mean, we touched on this in a previous conversation, but simply, differentiation around this, because we're touching on actually some components of differentiation here as well.
Yep.
I see this a lot with clients where there's a struggle because purpose isn't
Mhm.
necessarily clear, or
Mhm.
perhaps it's undervalued, which I see a lot,
Yep.
where purpose is not seen as a way to insert um, good, um, high integrity decisions into a
Yep.
business. The one thing I see, and I just want to share this and I want to get your perspective on it. The one thing
Yep.
I see a lot is that there is a purpose that may be defined, and often it is simply a statement, but there's very little emotional connection to it. And I like to say that, if your purpose doesn't light you up like a firecracker, you have the wrong one.
Yep.
It's got to
Yep.
light you up. And that's a
Yep.
big part of making these differentiated decisions that help people, because really it's all about how do you stand out for the decisions that you make,
Yes.
validate your contribution and the impact of your work on the world, right?
Correct.
It's a big part of
Correct.
that. What happens for you when do you see that with your clients? Where does this piece around purpose and differentiation show up for you in your work?
I think everywhere. Meaning, when I say everywhere, that means that in how they choose their clients, how
Mm,
they choose their
mm,
team members, and when they make a decision, and it could be a marketing decision, it could
mhm,
be leadership decision, it could be financial decision. I
mhm,
think the differentiation and the purpose, when it's really what, like you said, lights you up, and then truly what you believe in, and then you
mhm.
can feel it in your soul, it will show up everywhere. And
Yeah.
then I think that is really the guiding principle, because when you're not in alignment with it, there is
Mhm.
this intuition kind of like knocking at you, and
Yep.
it makes you wonder, right?
Yep.
Like, is this really
Yeah.
right? As simple as if you met a potential client, for example, and then I use this a lot, like, and that's why in my world,
Mm.
I, I, as you become more experienced and then you become older, maybe you become wise like the owl, I don't know. But I started to, which is very different than 6 years ago when I started my business, right? Like you feel like you have to chase the the potential clients.
Mm.
Now I took a step back and then I always felt, okay, do I trust this person?
Mm-hmm.
right? Can I be direct with this person?
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Mm-hmm.
Is there something that I can feel like this is going to be a collaboration, it's going to be a partnership, or is this
Mm-hmm.
going to be a one-way street,
Mm-hmm.
right? Do they share the same value where they put their people as a priority
Right.
or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you may not be able to pinpoint, but there is in any conversation, there is always a red flag, right? And you just have to listen to, and then sometimes that red flag may not be obvious, but you hang up the phone and there is more emails, there is more interaction, and then you just started feeling like, you know what, this is not right.
Mm-hmm.
This is just something is not right. I don't know what it is,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And you make a decision to maybe just say, you know what, let it go. Let it go because this is not in alignment with who you are and then where you want to take your business,
Yeah.
right? The right clients will come. And then I'm going to tell you, it is hard. It is hard to turn away business
Mm-hmm.
when you are in needs. Trust me, I know
Oh,
that.
yes.
I see this with all my clients, but I always say this is why we do proper planning. We create that emergency fund so you don't need to feel this pressure, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
you still have time
Yeah. So you can
to make the
stand.
right.
Exactly. So
Exactly.
you're setting that foundation so that you can stand in your differentiation, so you can stand in your
Yes.
integrity, so you can stand in your truth.
Yes.
One of the things that I wrote down, the question, can I be my best self in this
Yes.
relationship? Can I
Yes.
contribute my fullness, my best self, without restriction, without judgment, without compromise, without feeling limited in
Yep.
how I can show up, without being misaligned in our value system? Can I bring all of me and my company to
Yes.
this relationship so that
Yep.
this client can receive full value? Are we
Yes.
set up, right? Are we
Yes.
set up that way? And to your
Yes.
point, it is really hard. It's really hard to walk away, especially when there's a red flag. I see this all the time with my clients as well. The red flag of the relationship where you start bumping up against some tension, or there's some a statement that comes across an email that causes you to cock your head a little bit, or someone treats a coworker or one of your team in a way that you're
Yep.
thinking that's not okay.
Yes.
And we get these little red flags, and it's tempting to let them go. It's
Oh
tempting to say
yeah.
it's okay. And what
Yes.
happens in that is every time we do that, we disempower ourselves just a little. And our differentiation actually in the marketplace becomes diluted because it's not in full integrity, because
Yep.
people can see through it. And we also know that
Yes.
we're not operating in full integrity.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
I'm hearing from you that as you have now founded Profit Reimagined since 2018, you're experiencing the ability to be truly in integrity and fully differentiated in the market through
Yes.
aligning with your values, knowing your purpose,
Yep.
designing your business to be in full value to your
Yep.
clients.
Yep. Definitely. I think, everything that you said, it's very true. I think here's the thing, right? When you just started a business or when you feel like you need to grow and
Mm,
scale, sometimes you're gonna, you could feel that you kind of like stray away from your path, from
yeah.
your purpose,
Yeah.
right? But at the end of the day, to me, that is the guiding principle on how you
Mm-hmm.
run your business and then how you interact. As simple as, like to me personally, right? As even though you are not able to pinpoint, as simple as going to a networking event
Mm-hmm.
or creating a partnership with someone, right? To
Mm-hmm.
create like a webinar or a workshop, or even like this podcast, right? I use my intuition and then I don't chase that quantity,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I told my marketing person all the time, I said, you know what? If it doesn't feel right to me, I'm not doing it.
Right.
I'm just not, right? Because she always said, well, it's going to give you exposure. It's going to do this. I'm like, yes, but I'm the one that gonna be in front of this person talking about certain things. If I
Yeah.
do not feel my energy is
Yeah.
there, my positive energy is there, and then I can feel excited about it, I don't want
Yeah.
to do it. And then
Yep.
the same thing with my podcast before. I could sense when a guest is not in alignment,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then when you already feel, even though it's across Zoom, you felt that somehow. I don't know
Yeah.
how, but you felt it.
Yeah.
And then you just like you want to you're like, okay, this is it. I'm not doing this anymore.
Mm-hmm. You just knew.
Yeah.
And it's, to your point, it's interesting as we reflect on the last 45 minutes or whatever it's been that we've been chatting, starting at the beginning of your journey as a young girl, something didn't feel right, right? And right through the arc of your story, you've really leaned into if it doesn't feel right. Not didn't necessarily always know what to do with it, but you knew to pay attention. And the
Yeah.
thing that really stood out for me was, you know, you in your situation, the example around the mining company in Mexico, I think it was Mexico, you said, right?
No, it's actually in Honduras.
Oh, sorry. Okay, in Honduras. Um, so that situation was very tangible and it allowed you to have clarity around what your values were and why it didn't feel right. But not
Yeah.
everybody has that moment of truth, if you will, where it's such a tangible example. The key is remembering that if it doesn't feel right, it's just not. And we don't have to have evidence. We don't have to necessarily see it and we can just lean into the intuition and trust that. It doesn't need to
Yeah.
necessarily be validated for those, who are thinking, oh, it doesn't feel right, but we can explain it away. It's true. You can explain it away. It's true. And then what happens is it just keeps getting repeated and repeated until there's usually a moment of discomfort at some point that is
But
there.
I but I think Michelle, I think the hardest part, right? Like I think it's it's always a journey,
Oh, yes.
right?
Yeah.
And if I will tell you, I'm pretty sure as a coach, you took this out from your clients all the time,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay, what is
Mm-hmm.
that intuition telling you?
Mm-hmm.
What is it? What is it
Mm-hmm.
not feeling right,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's a journey that I believe everybody needs to take.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and sometimes the situation may not, um, how should I say, may not allow you to listen, or kind of
Mm-hmm.
it's you just ignore it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't allow you. I think if back in 2018, when
Mm-hmm.
I decided to leave, um, I didn't have the mean and it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't the right moment where I can just leave, I
Mm-hmm.
probably still gonna be stuck
Mm-hmm.
where I was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, and then some people could do it, but for me, I still have a responsibility to my family,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I still have a parents that I have to support as well,
Mm-hmm.
right? You still have a mortgage there.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big
Mm-hmm.
thing. You still have a child. So to me, like I the world just kind of collide
Mm-hmm.
and gave me that sign. You know what? You're ready. I didn't feel ready though, but I just felt like, okay, I think I can make it work,
Right. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think I can make it work. So I took that leap of faith and not knowing what's going to happen. And the struggle was real, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think having a coach, if I had a coach like
Mm.
you, probably is going to took out and then make you realize
Mm.
faster. I gonna be fully uh direct. I guess that's the way to
I would
say
expect
that.
nothing less.
Yeah, I know. Like in the past, when I heard about coach, and then
Mm-hmm.
only the right coach can make it happen. I'm gonna tell
Mm-hmm.
you that.
That's true.
I worked with different coaches before, but it didn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There is always something like I don't know if what you are saying is basically in alignment to
Yeah.
what I believe in. right? So, I do believe in coaching now. I'm gonna
Mm,
say that. I do believe in coaching. I think it can change a business trajectory. I believe in that as well.
mm-hmm,
If you find the right coach
mm-hmm.
that can pull you out, I can pull that intuition or the direction or whatever that you're not feeling right
Yeah.
to be true to yourself only with the right coach,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Oh,
It's such an intimate relationship, right? And
yeah.
from my perspective, certainly it's a privilege to have those conversations. And also, what we're trying to do is pull out what's true and meaningful for you.
Yeah.
It has nothing to
Yeah.
do with what I might think that you should do.
Yeah.
And a coach is really trying to put you in a position where your best self, help you put yourself in a position, help you have the clarity to know what your options are so that
Yes.
your best self can rise out of that,
Yes.
right? To give
Yes.
access
Yes.
to that.
Yes.
And that's something that only you know, internal wisdom,
Exactly.
which is, yeah, as we think about the journey you've been on and differentiating around your values, your purpose, what's truly meaningful, just even having that awareness can, in and of itself, create shifts without you actually changing anything dramatically, but it
Yeah.
can create different shifts for you, certainly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's when you the biggest thing, um, certainly to my mind, is around alignment with self
Yeah.
and understanding how that alignment with yourself in alignment with your community, your partners, your team, your clients, when that alignment is nicely organized,
Yeah.
beautiful things can happen.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. And then
Oh,
you feel free.
yeah,
I
that's
think
gorgeous.
that's also the
Yeah,
one thing that I want to feel. I don't want to feel trapped. I
yep,
was trapped for
yeah.
many years. Why do I want
Oh,
to go back there if
right,
I'm still doing the same thing and then
right.
thinking about the same thing and then not being true to who I am?
Yeah,
And I think that's a powerful realization
yeah. Freedom.
for me. Yeah,
Yeah,
freedom.
absolutely. That's
So
beautiful. As we're just winding up here, Christina, is there
yeah.
anything other than that spectacular gem of wisdom right there? Is there anything that you would like to highlight for our listeners that you might like to share from today?
I think, one thing, and then this is because of my space, right? When you are looking at your profitability or when you are looking at your revenue, whatever
Mm,
data, whatever the
mm,
financial results that you are seeing, try to look at it from a different lens, right? Before you said, I need to cut my people. Before you said that any decision that is going to impact people, try to take a step back and try to create the different scenario. What about if I do this? What is that
mm,
going to look like? Yes, maybe in the short term,
mhm,
it's going to be painful, but can I sleep at night if I
mhm,
make the wrong decision here that's going to
mm,
impact my team? That my team doesn't feel respected,
mm,
doesn't feel that it's
right.
I care about them. I think that would be try to shift, try to take a step back before just making a decision that is reactive. I think that's the keyword, reactive.
Mhm,
That's why being proactive in your business and then looking at your financial result regularly, it give you that sense of empowerment and
mhm.
give you that sense, I have options. This is
Yeah,
not my only options.
that's
Right.
gorgeous. Yeah. A bigger context can
Yeah,
fuel your dreams.
exactly.
That is amazing. So, for those people who would like to connect with you and
Yes.
perhaps see what Profit Reimagined is all about, where might they find you, Christina?
They can go to profitreimagined.com
Okay.
or they can find me, Christina Sjahli, on LinkedIn, and please connect with me.
Sounds amazing. We'll be sure to make sure those links are available to all of our listeners. And I just want to thank you so much for such a genuine and authentic conversation with the wisdom of the owl ever present. It's been an absolute delight. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you, Michelle. You've been great. You're like asking the great question that pulling, the story
Oh,
out of me. So thank you for that.
it's
Appreciate
been
it.
a joy. Thank you for sharing with us. Bye for now.
Bye.